Have you ever noticed how your inner critic sounds exactly like someone from your past? Maybe it's your mother's disappointed sigh, your father's harsh corrections, or that teacher who made you feel small. Here's what most people don't realize: your inner critic isn't actually you. It's an identity thief that's been wearing your face for so long, you've forgotten who you really are underneath all that negative self talk. I want you to think about the last time you made a mistake. What was the first voice you heard in your head? I'm willing to bet it wasn't kind. It probably sounded something like, "How could you be so stupid?" Or, "You never get anything right." That voice has convinced you it's protecting you from failure, but really, it's stealing your confidence one thought at a time. The thing about your inner critic is that it developed during childhood as a survival mechanism. When you were young, your brain figured out that if it could predict and prevent criticism from others, you'd be safer. So it created this internal voice that would criticize you first, before anyone else could. It was trying to help, but somewhere along the way, this protective mechanism became a prison. Most of us have been living with this identity thief for so long that we think its voice is our own authentic thoughts. We believe the harsh judgments, the perfectionism, and the constant comparison to others. But here's the truth: that critical voice isn't your wisdom speaking. It's old programming that's outlived its usefulness. Think about how you talk to your best friend when they mess up. You're probably compassionate, understanding, maybe even encouraging. You help them see the situation clearly without attacking their character. But when you make the same mistake, suddenly you become your own worst enemy. You say things to yourself that you would never say to someone you care about. This double standard is one of the clearest signs that your inner critic has hijacked your identity. The identity theft happens so gradually that most people don't even notice it. First, the critic convinces you that you need to be perfect to be worthy of love. Then it tells you that your emotions are too much, your dreams are unrealistic, and your efforts aren't good enough. Before you know it, you're living your life according to someone else's harsh standards instead of your own authentic values. One of the most damaging things about this identity theft is how it affects your self-worth. When you constantly hear that you're not smart enough, attractive enough, or successful enough, you start to believe these lies as facts about who you are. Your self-esteem plummets because you're measuring yourself against impossible standards that were never meant to define your value as a person. If you're someone who struggles with imposter syndrome, your inner critic is probably working overtime. It's the voice telling you that you don't deserve your success, that you're fooling everyone, and that you'll eventually be found out as a fraud. But imposter syndrome isn't about your actual abilities. It's about the gap between who you really are and who your inner critic thinks you should be. The good news is that once you recognize this identity theft, you can start to reclaim your authentic self. The first step is learning to distinguish between your inner critic and your genuine inner wisdom. Your true inner voice is curious, not judgmental. It asks questions like, "What can I learn from this?" instead of making statements like, "I'm such a failure." Here's a simple technique you can try right now. The next time you notice harsh self-criticism, pause and ask yourself, whose voice is this really? Often you'll realize it sounds like a parent, teacher, or someone else who was critical of you in the past. This awareness alone can help you create some distance between you and these borrowed thoughts. Another powerful way to combat this identity theft is through self-compassion. When you catch yourself being self-critical, try responding the way you would to a good friend. Acknowledge that everyone makes mistakes, that struggle is part of the human experience, and that you deserve kindness, especially from yourself. Many people worry that being less self-critical will make them lazy or unmotivated. This is another lie the inner critic tells to maintain its power over you. Research actually shows that self-compassion increases motivation, resilience, and performance. When you feel safe and supported, even by yourself, you're more likely to take healthy risks and bounce back from setbacks. The process of reclaiming your identity from this inner thief takes time and practice. You've probably been listening to this critical voice for years, so it won't disappear overnight. But every time you choose self compassion over self criticism, you're taking back a piece of your authentic self. Start paying attention to the patterns in your negative self talk. Do you criticize yourself more when you're tired, stressed, or comparing yourself to others? Understanding your triggers can help you prepare better responses. Maybe when you're scrolling social media and feeling inadequate, you can remind yourself that you're seeing everyone else's highlight reel, not their behind the scenes struggles. Remember, your worth isn't determined by your productivity, your achievements, or how few mistakes you make. You are worthy of love and respect simply because you exist. Your inner critic might have convinced you otherwise, but that was never the truth about who you are. If this message resonates with you, I'd love for you to subscribe to our channel, where we explore more ways to understand and improve your relationship with yourself. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our latest videos on personal development and emotional healing. The journey from self-criticism to self-compassion isn't always easy, but it's one of the most important investments you can make in your mental health and overall happiness. You deserve to live free from the constant judgment of an inner critic that was never really yours to begin with. Your authentic voice is still there, underneath all that borrowed criticism. It's patient, wise, and infinitely more trustworthy than the identity thief that's been masquerading as your inner guidance. Today can be the day you start listening to your real voice again. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that they're not their inner critic, and let's help more people reclaim their authentic identities from these internal thieves.